DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy, family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574 today. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Hey, welcome to FLX Weekly here on Wednesday, July 24th, 2024, live here inside the FingerLakes1.com studios in Seneca Falls, New York. And today I'll be joined by Ria Diversa of Ria's Wines on the southeastern shore of Seneca Lake, former Poplar Ridge property that they've taken over. They opened up their tasting room on the 5th. Their first releases are coming out this summer. Summer launch parties on August 10th. Real interesting story, a lot to talk about, so really looking forward to this week's episode, which is brought to you by Perfect Pear Eatery, quality carry-out cuisine in Seneca Falls. Everything is made fresh with in-house smoked meats, cheesecakes, and marshmallows. Check out their unique menu of comforting creations, sure to please the entire family for lunch or dinner. Order online at perfectpeareatery.com or call 315-712-4004 and look for the yellow door at 64 West Baird Street. And also, Lincoln Hill Farms, quench your thirst for a good time at Brewfest 2024 on Saturday, August 3rd at Lincoln Hill Farms in Canandaigua. Enjoy premier craft beer from the Finger Lakes and beyond, live music, local vendors, and stunning views in the heart of the Finger Lakes. It's a one-of-a-kind entertainment experience you won't want to miss. Get ready for good tunes, good vibes, and a great time at Brewfest 2024. Tickets on sale now at LincolnHillFarms.com. And so I'm happy to welcome Ria Diversa into the show. Ria, thanks for making the drive up to Seneca Falls.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
And the tasting room, we're going to talk about, you and your husband and your family and your backgrounds and what brought you here and what it's like going in a winery, all that stuff. But the tasting room opened July 5th, and I imagine that had to be a big benchmark for you guys, so congratulations.
Thank you so much. It has been, quite a journey, but the moment that we opened, we felt excitement and also relief, just getting to that real big benchmark for us.
So talking before the show, you're from New Jersey. You currently also teach at Cornell. Your husband's from Seattle. 2 children, 2 and 5 now, and somehow the path has led to Hector, Valois, southern Seneca County winery property. So first, if you could, tell me a little bit about your background and then maybe weave in a little bit about Michael and how you guys met and basically the whole background.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and stop me if it's too much. But so I'm from the East Coast, and I grew up in pretty rural New Jersey. It looks a lot like around here, so it feels pretty comfortable for me. And I study botany, actually. And if you're thinking, okay, what do you do with a botany degree? Wondering too. So I actually worked at the New York Botanical Garden, and I lived in New York for a long time before taking a sabbatical and living in Italy. And I worked in a vineyard there and actually studied pastry. And when I realized that science is really my strength, I applied to grad school, moved back to New York, and got into UC Davis out in California.
Oh, wow. Okay.
UC Davis is a really excellent wine school, so I felt, really proud to go there. And that's where I met Mike. Yeah, so he and I were in the same master's program, and he was studying specifically enology, so winemaking, and with my plant background, I studied specifically viticulture and agronomy.
So at that point, did you say, okay, I'm going to marry this guy and we're going to open a winery? Because it seems like...
Well, it's what he told me from day one is what he's wanted. And he also told me, one of the first times I met Mike was he was putting on a tasting of Riesling specifically. And I was like, okay, maybe we want to live in a different place, because there's a lot of Riesling in California. But from someone who knows the East Coast, I knew that Riesling was king up here in the Finger Lakes. Yeah, so we met there, and I ended up studying and staying in California for many years. We got married in Berkeley, and I worked in mostly Sonoma County. So
Okay.
I worked at an amazing family ranch. We grew a lot of Pinot Noir and actually a lot of olives. So I helped make the wine and make the olive oil, while Mike was a head winemaker in Napa Valley for many years. Yeah, we actually had our first daughter, Marigold, in Santa Rosa, where we lived. And if you remember, or if Santa Rosa kind of brings something up, it's because they make the national news because of a lot of the wildfires.
Sure.
Yeah, and for me, someone who works outside, it was a incredibly stressful, 3 months out of the year when you're picking the grapes.
When did you move from California?
We moved in late 2020.
Oh, so you were there. Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, 2017 was when Santa Rosa burned.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I loved my job. There was no reason to leave. But after becoming a parent and going through many years of the wildfire smoke, it was, I got into wine for the adventure.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to try something different. So I convinced Mike, we can do it. You love Riesling, you want to make Riesling, and I know there's a place out there where we can actually buy property and have our own thing.
So how did that come about then? How did you choose the Poplar? A lot of people around here know Poplar Ridge.
Right,
It's been there for years. I've been there several times. I'm excited to come down and see
Cool.
it as Ria's Wines now. But yeah, explain that process a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't know Bagley's Poplar Ridge really at all, except just passing it on the road.
Mm-hmm.
When we first visited the Finger Lakes, we didn't know too much. We knew a few things. We knew Herman J. Weimer, people that were on the map, So as we tried to explore, I was looking up, what kind of land is available? What are our opportunities? And Bagley's actually was the #1 search that I found. And at first I was like, I don't know if we're ready.
Well, it's a big step. It's
Yeah,
nerve-wracking
I
with
just
young
had
children
a second
too.
child, it was not sure. But I called the realtor and I spoke with Brittany Bagley, and I just set up an appointment. We went through the visit, and I was just like, this is so great. It's a perfect size, and it has so much history, and it's a family business, and I'm not going to say land is affordable because it's not, but it was in the space that we could handle.
And the vines were already
They're
matured.
there.
Yeah.
And what's so cool about the property is a lot of the vines are actually 40 years old and still thriving. And that's something, if you know New York winters, that's not necessarily something that is pretty regular around
Right.
here. So we're really, really excited. And, it's manageable. Absolutely. And for a husband and wife team, it was really exciting that the staff that was there loved the property so much too. So it just felt really right.
Did some of the staff stay on with
They
you guys?
did,
Okay.
yeah. So Patrick Wilson, who worked in the vineyard for many years, he's still there. And he's running the vineyard, running the tractors as our estate foreman. And then Liz Salamandra is the tasting room lead, who was working there for many years, and Maddie Wells also works there.
Oh, so
Yeah,
that's
it's
cool.
really, really cool that they stayed on with us.
So we're going to taste some of the wines and talk about some of the wines. But first, I'm just really intrigued. Here we have in our studio someone who has been involved in agriculture and wines in Italy, in Sonoma Valley, California, UC Davis. I'm just curious as to some of the differences. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of differences between West Coast and Napa Valley, Sonoma Valley, and the Finger Lakes regions. But obviously, chose the Finger Lakes. Talk about, I guess, some of the strengths, because here in the Finger Lakes, I think we feel like we are starting in the past decade to produce world-class wines, but maybe the world hasn't caught on yet, other than Riesling, which is pretty world-renowned here in the Finger Lakes. But just some of your thoughts as someone who came to the Finger Lakes of where we are now and what the future might hold.
Yeah, sure. So, the first time I came here, we went for a really big hike at Watkins Glen, as a new resident does, or a tourist does.
Right.
And I was just so profoundly moved by how much water there was, because we're coming from the West Coast where where there's a very lack. A drought can go on for 7
water's at a
years.
premium.
Yeah, it could be very stressful as a grape grower myself. So I was, just floored by how much water availability there was. On the flip side, that can, be kind of an issue for farmers as well. But what I really like about this region is the capabilities of the grape growers here, the farmers here. They are so in tune with their fields, and there's variability every year, right? We have a vintage. This year has been a hard one so far, and we will still succeed like most farmers will. And I really like that we're able to kind of take on those challenges. And I think I was well trained to take on those challenges just because I've had so much experience. Same with Mike, and also same with the farmers around here. But we do have ample water availability, so we don't need to irrigate. Right? We don't need to do a lot of those things that other folks have to. And it's almost like a gift in a lot of ways. But on the flip side, we're still trying to figure out, okay, Riesling grows really well. Cabernet Franc goes really well. And those are such, wonderful grape varieties and kind of like the kings, right? And they're also quite cold hardy. But I really think that there's a lot of other identities that we're developing here in the Finger Lakes. And one of those is sparkling, right? Sparkling is becoming quite a big thing here, and that's great because the national market loves sparkling wine. And the ability for us to make sparkling wine like we do also at Ria's Wines, we have 2 coming out in a few weeks. It allows you some flexibility, right? If you have a really big storm coming in September and you are hoping to pick in 2 weeks for your grapes, you could also pick right before the storm came, have a lot of flexibility, make a really excellent wine, and still have a great product. So there's a lot of ways to pivot within winemaking, and I see that with folks around here, and it's inspiring.
Is that one of the things that attracted you to this? Just the from a creative element, or every vintage is different, and you have to pivot sometimes. It can be obviously very stressful, as any, I think, farming field could be, whether you grow corn, whatever it is, you're at the mercy of the conditions, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the creative element, it's exciting every year when the season starts. What's the vintage going to be like? You never know what the future's going to hold. And this first vintage has been difficult, but you still feel good about the products?
I do. Our vines are looking really, really great, and I put that on our team because they've been working there so long. It's really exciting and calming for me to see that everything is going well.
Right.
Which is really nice for a first-time business owner in this region. But I think that the creativity is something that I can really speak for Mike on, because he gets really excited about that.
Yeah.
It's that flexibility, that excitement that really drives him. But he also has a lot of kind of like core strengths on, he knows how to deal with how to make beautiful, delicate, finessed Riesling and other wines. And yet he is excited to take on the many other varieties that are on our property that he needs to kind of play with. And kind of figure out what works best for us.
Is he connected with any other of his peers here in the Finger Lakes since you moved?
Yeah, it's cool. This region is really special because the community is really strong. He's members of many tasting groups, and the winemakers here are so educated and really passionate about the region. One thing that we have to understand too is, as we walk every vine row and get to see the variability in the vineyard, one thing that we really are excited to do is move towards organic farming practices. And that's one of my strengths, something I do as a consultant, and it's something I did out west. And moving forward year by year, that's our goal that we'll be doing.
To become fully organic?
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be quite a journey. It's quite
And just for
hard
some people watching who might not know what that process would entail, like what has to happen to get from where you are now to be fully organic?
Yeah, so step by step, the first step that we'll do is remove the use of herbicide. Herbicide is an incredibly useful tool for farmers to remove weeds under the vine row. And yet, here in the Finger Lakes, we have ample nutrients and ample water So we can actually allow our grapevines to have some competition.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can have some grass and other plant species growing alongside the vines to kind of help them, you know, take up all that ample water that we have. So that involves us having some new farm tools, some new tractor implements to
Mm-hmm.
be able to remove the herbicide. And then from there, the next step would be to start implementing the removal of some synthetics, some chemicals, because we have to spray fungicide. Everyone
Yeah.
does. And you have to make sure that fruit is really clean. And that's our main goal all year. And so that will be our step-by-step process. And it'll be year to year. I'm a very practical person, so I have to make sure that
It's got to be very, you know, that's a big leap though to,
Huge.
you know, go
Huge.
organic. All of a sudden, a whole lot less tools in your arsenal to come
Absolutely
back.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I'm not saying I'm going to do it next year. I'm saying it's going to be a big goal.
But it is something, you know, that you see more of now, and you know, obviously for a lot of reasons, it's appealing to people. So yeah, that's an exciting goal to have for sure. Well, let's talk about the actual wines because we have some of them right here that we are going to taste, and I believe the Riesling will be the first, and this
Yeah.
is your first release. These are the year one of Ria's.
Absolutely, actually.
What's it like to see the bottles with your name on it and
Oh,
knowing
gosh.
everything you've gone through?
I mean, I'm proud, right?
Yeah.
It's really really cool, and that we named it Ria's for many reasons, but we wanted to be a family brand, and we purchased it from Bagley's, which was a family brand. And we wanted to be kind of like, you know, coming from an Italian American family or New Jersey, you know, Patty's, Giorgio's, Johnny's, you know, we wanted to be kind of like a warm, casual, inviting place. And so this Riesling we call Viva Riesling, which is actually our youngest daughter's middle name. And it's from a vineyard that's actually south of Geneva that we also farm. And, you know, it's a really, really beautiful little tiny spot. It's about 100 feet from Seneca Lake, so it's on the western side. And it's 2022 because we've been making wine from that vineyard for a couple years. And this really showcases our winemaker style, which is, you know, the balance of acid and floral and fruity. And it's a quite, I think, beautiful Riesling. But you'll also have to note that, like, this Riesling is, you know, it's pretty zippy, right? Because
Yeah.
the Finger Lakes is cool climate. We have shorter seasons, and we kind of have to pick when we need to.
Super clean, crisp, easy. The taste lingers, but it's not sharp. It's a very smooth, buttery. I mean, this is a great Riesling. And you said that the Rieslings were what originally attracted you to. This is as good as any Riesling.
Thank you. Yeah, we love it. This is really one of our flagships. And we also make another Riesling from the estate property. But I thought, how many Rieslings do we need today?
That's right. This is a great expression of Riesling. It's beautiful. Yeah, very exciting. For the first effort, very, very good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, people are really, really liking that one. And
You have gotten feedback because the tasting room's open.
yeah,
so it's-
exactly.
Right.
It's this is for sure one of the more popular wines. Absolutely. And I think it's a really beautiful expression of the site. And you know, Mike's there right now, which is why he can't join us because he's moving wires in the vineyard. But
So, explain how these Rieslings, the grapes became this. Like, what's your process? As I could understand from us talking and looking at the website, it's simple.
yeah,
Not a lot of extra treatment going on.
absolutely. So one of our really pivotal ways of making wine and growing grapes is to basically just have the site express itself. So for us to do as little as possible.
Yeah.
So when we picked these grapes in 2022, they went straight to the press. And Mike really likes to do a very long, like many hours of a press load, and it allows for a very delicate touch on the grapes. And then in the winery itself, there's minimal work to be done, just hoping that we have a great season.
Yeah, delicate. That's a great word to describe this wine. I like Riesling a lot. I like to drink maybe one glass of Riesling with a certain dish. But this I could see, maybe pouring a second glass. It's really approachable. It's fantastic.
Thank you. And approachable is a great word for us, actually, because we want our wines to be very approachable.
So, in addition to the Riesling, we have, you mentioned sparkling.
We do have 2 sparklings coming out, but this is our rosé, and this is from
rosé, yep.
Yeah, this is from our property in Hector, and it's a really nice expression of a Cabernet Franc rosé. And Cabernet Franc grows really well here in the Finger Lakes. I also love to grow it myself. I love finding that kind of perfect balance of how to grow the grapevine throughout the season and when to pick it specifically for rosé and then for red wine. And we like this. The color's beautiful. It has a really pink blush that folks really like, and it has a lot of acid. It's kind of like your nice straightforward rosé that folks need for like a hot weather hangout.
And again, easy to drink, really clean, solid. I'm not personally not a rosé fan. I don't mind tasting rosé, but I usually don't pour myself a glass of rosé. But yeah, this is excellent, clean, solid. Again, approachable. It's easy drinking.
Thank you. And since this is our first vintage, we want our wines to be very fresh, right?
That's a great word. It does feel fresh.
Yeah. But of course, as the years go on, I'm curious, and Mike's curious, what wines are ageable, right? What, how long, and we don't know that answer yet. So, because it's really just, month 2.
But that's part of the fun, right?
Yeah.
So finally, we have a red blend.
Yeah, this is a red blend that we call Sunnyside, and I call it Sunnyside because we're in part of the region of the Seneca Lake, also known as the Banana Belt. And, very warm, nice radiation from the sun. And this is a blend of Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Cabernet Franc. So, it's, again, meant to be an easy drinking red wine, lower in alcohol.
All the grapes come from your vineyard?
Yes, yeah, yep.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, it's a solid, nice red blend. Slightly more tannic because it has that Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot in it. But again, we're just playing around with what we see could work for the vineyard, and who knows what 2024 vintage will bring for that particular blend.
One of the most exciting things for me, I like red wine. I prefer red wine over white wine, and perhaps the Finger Lakes gets a bad rap for the reds, but I think that's certainly been changing over the past several years. Places like Ravines make some great Pinot Noir and Cab Franc that I enjoy, and I could name a lot of my favorite reds around here. Standing Stone, this is good too, really good. But you came from Sonoma Valley,
where I grew a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
I love growing this variety.
And so, how do you think that we're doing here in the Finger Lakes, compared to a Sonoma Valley?
Sure. Well, we're never going to have that long season of Sonoma or Napa. They have the vines wake up in March, early April there, whereas we, are in May.
Yeah.
So we don't have as long of a season, but the thing is, we have lots of sunshine during and lots of heat. So, and that's why we're able to grow a lot of red varieties. One thing about the red varieties here and the red wines here, when you have that great year where you get lots of heat and a great long season with not a ton of rain in the growing season, those red wines are phenomenal.
Yeah.
They're really good.
2017 around here was like that.
People say that a lot to me that year.
And you can taste it. I mean, I'm not a sommelier, I'm a recreational wine drinker. But yeah, I can taste those 2017s. I still have several 2017 bottles at the house that are just aging because
Yeah,
I'm
holding
afraid.
on to.
So
Yeah, and that's the thing is that what's cool about being a grape grower and a winemaker in this region is really waiting for those good years. So we try our hardest every single year, but nature takes over and you kind of do your best. But when you have those good years, you have some really great red wine. And we hope for that, but what's really cool is we have the ability then we could make more rosé if we don't have a long season. You know, there's a lot of ways to create a quality wine portfolio.
any interest in making ice wine?
We definitely want to make a dessert wine. Absolutely. We actually have vignoles, which is a hybrid variety on the property, and we're really hoping to use it with that. Yeah.
Well, all three of these were just delicious, fantastic. I look
Thank you.
forward to visiting you down in Hector, Valois, South Seneca County.
That's right.
It's a great part of the Finger Lakes, the south end of Seneca Lake. You have Watkins Glen, but then a little north it becomes a little more foresty.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we're surrounded by the Kaywood National Forest. It's really cool.
and so many great. As a lifelong resident, it's been great to see what's happened. I mean, in terms of especially driving down that east side of Seneca Lake, how it's just exploded. Not only wineries, but distilleries, breweries,
Yeah, and
restaurants.
restaurants, yeah.
It's fantastic. And then on top of that, to see all the license plates of the different cars from around the world and talk to people from, not even just from America, but from Europe. And it's really turned into a fantastic, experience, I guess, to visit the Finger Lakes. And you mentioned the water. We have everything here that a lot of other people across the country want, and we're safe up here from wildfires, from with all the water we have. Flooding generally isn't too big of an
Exactly.
issue here.
Yeah.
So it's a great place to live. That's one reason why I never wanted to leave. But
I know I say to myself and to my daughters, like, we're very safe in this region. We're not immune to natural disaster, but
Yeah.
it is a really smart place to farm.
less tornadoes, although that's changing.
We did have one last week, didn't we, in Canandaigua?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something that's kind of wild to
Yeah, that threw me
experience.
for a loop, but
Yeah.
but
But still safer than most.
yes, absolutely. No
And I've
earthquakes.
always said, climate change will probably benefit us here in the Finger Lakes. A little bit milder winters and a little bit longer seasons.
And we're already seeing that.
Yeah, no
just
doubt.
in my minimal time here.
No doubt. So the summer launch party on August 10th, is that just come as you are, pre-register, or?
Yeah, no, it is. It's just, we're welcoming everybody. Yeah, we're going to have a few food vendors, bunch of stuff for kids, and really just opening up all of our wines, opening our doors, and hoping people stay for as long as possible. Every Saturday, actually, throughout the summer and September, we have what we call a golden hour. So we're open until 7, and we have live music every Saturday. And
I like
so-
that. I just got to tell you, I'm frustrated sometimes when we would hit up a couple wineries and they're closing at 6.
Yeah, it's too
some
early
earlier.
sometimes,
Yeah,
especially on a
if it's
Saturday.
gorgeous out and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we got to go.
And our vista and our outdoor patio views are so pretty in the summertime, overlooking the lake. So it's really nice, and we're hoping for August 10th. The music starts at 4, so people could potentially stay as long as they want.
So before we get out of here, just in a nutshell, give you the elevator pitch for like what people can expect
Yeah.
if they come to Ria's for the first time.
Yeah, sure. So we're open every day except Tuesday, 11 to 5 p.m. And walk-ins are very welcome, but we also take reservations online, especially if you have a very specific time that you want to come. And because we're brand new, what we've done is really just opened up all of our wines, and you can build your own flights. So you can try everything or just try one. Or you could purchase a glass of wine or even a bottle at the place or to go. So it's a very kind of open field right now because we just want to introduce ourselves. Yeah, and we also have a few bites of food, and like I said, on Saturdays open much later.
Yeah, that would be sounds like a great. A lot of people like to hit up 2 or 3 wineries and then, at the last one linger. So
Yeah, that's what
that
we're
would be a
hoping
great
for.
spot to end at
Yeah.
Luria's and stay till for the golden hour.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for.
Well, I really appreciate you coming up and talking to us. Congratulations to you and Michael on this great accomplishment. It's man, what a journey! And now you're actually producing product and
Thank you. Thank you.
two kids, 2 young kids. That's what amazes me, that you've done this all with 2 young kids under age 5.
Us too.
I mean, it's something. So
And they're real troopers. They love it there.
so where will they go to school? Just
Our Marigold goes, well, she's starting kindergarten in
Okay.
Geneva, and Clara, our 2-year-old, goes to daycare.
Okay.
And they're at camp right now.
Oh, nice. What camp? Do you mind if I ask?
She's going to Camp Corey down in on Seneca Lake for
Okay.
this week. Yeah. I just want them to have fun summers. It's so cool that we live
There's
on all these
nothing.
lakes.
Yeah, nothing better than summer in the Finger Lakes.
Yeah, I agree.
Except for maybe fall. Fall in the Finger Lakes
September's
is,
pretty
is
nice.
great. Yeah. So, well, welcome to the Finger Lakes first
Thank
of
you.
all, and really excited to see what the future holds for Rio Wines and summer launch party, August 10th. The tasting room's open now. Encourage you to go down and check them out. Bring a couple of bottles home from their first season of producing wine here in the Finger Lakes. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the show, click like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back next Wednesday with Catherine Chase from the Seneca Lake Wine Trail. Until then, have a great summer weekend. This is the last weekend of July. Yeah, last weekend in July here in the Finger Lakes. Enjoy.